All right, let's talk Eagles Buccaneers. Should be an interesting game as two teams that don't have a lot of believers right now. But hey, one of these is going to win a postseason game, so it should be fun either way. Let's talk about what could go right or wrong for either team. Starting off with this chart here, we are going to talk about Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers offense versus the Eagles defense in this video. You see, where each team ranks in specific positional categories. They've graded Baker an all-right quarterback, nothing otherworldly, but good. Also worth mentioning that the receiving play for Tampa Bay has not graded particularly well. Evans and Godwin both have graded very well, but that's mostly been it. They have not gotten a ton of high grades from other players, like Kate Otten and Trey Palmer have come in and made the occasional play, but the Tampa Bay has lacked kind of depth at that position. Philadelphia, their coverage has, those issues have been talked about for the past month or so very heavily. I still personally, I think Darius Slay's played all right this year, but a lot of the other corners just have not. So that's been kind of the big issue there. Pass block versus pass rush is good on good. Pass blocking has been actively good for Tampa Bay this season. And pleasant surprise, largely due to their tackle play. Gadecki and Wirfs both played really well. Eagles, pass rush is good, but maybe not as elite as it has been in years past. Meanwhile, the running stats might be the biggest mismatch you'll see in any playoff game this season, as the Buccaneers 29th run blocking, 32nd rushing. That's just the guy who running the football, how they grade. Eagles 4th best. So definitely, Tampa Bay don't run the ball a lot. Kind of, simple enough there. Heading over to, they did play each other, and a lot of people were kind of saying, like, wow, Buccaneers offense, this should just dominate the Eagles defense, right? I mean, Baker's played well, Mike Evans, like, that should just be a disaster for Philadelphia. Well, again, it is worth mentioning, the first time these two teams played, Tampa Bay only ended up with 11 overall points. They scored a field goal, and then they didn't get a touchdown until the fourth quarter. They went for 2 and got 8 points there. So that's how they got 11. But again, this was also week 3. And really, I thought there were times when Tampa Bay just did not look on the same page. Like this, it's a Mike Evans route against Darius Slay, going to be a 3rd down and 8 situation. Watch as when Baker takes the snap, he is going to eventually look towards Evans' direction. He fires towards Evans' direction, and there's a, quite frankly, wide open window right here. This should be a, completion. But this is a bit of a high throw. Also, Evans was not able to make the grab. If you remember, Evans had some real drop issues early on in the year. Every now and then he does that. He'll get kind of the yips there. That happened, but hey, maybe potential to gain some gain some windows here and get the ball down the field if you can convert on these plays you didn't convert on earlier on. I had a couple other plays of examples of this as well that I decided to cut. I think we get it with just one example, but this happened several times throughout the game. Also, going over to the running game, I mean, again, there's just no denying, like, even in this game, it did not go well. I mean, Rachaad White's overall statistics, he had 14 carries for just 38 yards. That's 2.7 yards per carry. Like this, I've highlighted a specific Philadelphia interior defensive lineman here. That is Jordan Davis, and watch what Davis is going to do on this play. Watch him be able to pretty quickly get through that inside. He's going to be able to blow up this play, and even if he didn't, someone else was going to get there. I mean, that was, White had nowhere to go. The reality is, it's a massive mismatch, the Buccaneers' interior offensive line versus the Eagles' interior defensive line. Even if the Eagles' run defense has been bad as of late, they still have a lot of guys who can play, and part of why it's not great is because they typically put 2 safeties deep. They can afford to do it in this game and not have to worry about the running game, which just makes things tougher for Tampa Bay. Makes things really tough, right? You're going to go up against a lot of 2 safety deep coverages, and you still probably won't be able to run the ball. However, a play like this is worth mentioning as well, as I don't necessarily think it means that you shouldn't be looking for Rachaad White at all in this game. Here, he's going to be running a route, and I do think that could be a real window. Getting him the ball underneath could be another great way to, on this play, it's just man coverage, but maybe even when there's 2 safeties deep, find ways to move the ball down the field. Watch as White is going to, get the ball right here. Does a pretty good job of getting out in space. He makes a nice move on, I believe that was Reed Blankenship, who's able to do, which, Blankenship's not a bad player, but White's able to make a nice move, and again, getting him the ball in open space, he is very good in open space, and that might be an area where Tampa Bay can try to move the ball down the field that they didn't really do a lot of last time. Also, something like this feels like something that you would probably want to see. Chris Godwin only had 3 catches the first time they played, but you have to think getting him the ball early and often should be the mindset. Because like I said, Slay's actually played all right this season. He's kind of been the one guy who's been okay in terms of the cornerback position, although he still hasn't been typical Darius Slay. But James Bradberry just had a bad year, and if he's going up against Godwin a lot one-on-one, well, you got to hit Godwin a lot one-on-one. This is Godwin on Bradberry. As you see, Mayfield is going to take the snap. You see that Godwin is able to get the inside leverage. There definitely is a window for Godwin to, there's a window here. Baker can hit him. And as you see, that's going to be exactly what Baker does. Baker does hit Godwin. They're able to pick up a nice, really explosive play on a 3rd down and 3. These are things that you will have opportunities for. So for Philadelphia, to me, the logic is simple. Play 2 safety deep coverages. Don't give Tampa Bay too many one-on-ones. Give them the one-on-ones underneath, that's fine. Don't give them any one-on-ones down the field. And for Tampa Bay, kind of take those opportunities, try to throw the ball as much as possible. If you're going to run the ball, try to go with more outside runs, which they don't love to do, despite the fact that their tackles are clearly the strength of their offensive line. But definitely, if you are going to run the ball, get a little bit creative with it. Don't just run it straight up the gut. And that's your pathway to victory for Tampa Bay, I think. So if we're going to overall statistics here, so Philadelphia defensive points per drive on the season has been one of the worst in football, 2.43. Tampa Bay's offensive points per drive has been solid, 1.92. That's a respectable number. A bit on the, it's nothing crazy, but it's solid. The first matchup was a disaster, 1.22 points per drive. Eagles defense played great in that game. That's probably still their shining moment of the season. Again, all the way back in week 3. I don't think it's going to go quite as good in that one. Like I said, there were a lot of communication things that I think Tampa Bay has since ironed out. I'm going to give them 2 points per drive. I don't think this is going to be an explosion offensively, but I can see there being some, I can see them getting some points, especially against a defense that just, quite frankly, is not playing very well for Philadelphia. So yeah, that is my overall expectation there. I can envision a scenario of a disaster and really a disaster by either side. I can envision that happening. I think it is possible that, Baker Mayfield could have kind of what he did in Green Bay. I can see that. I also can see the other side. I can see kind of what happened last time happening again. Tampa Bay can't run the ball, kind of similar to what happened against the Saints, right? Where they can't run the ball, still try to run the ball, and because of it, kind of keep bashing their head into a wall. This is something that's been given them trouble over the years, and I could see it happening again here. So for me, that's kind of why I'm a little bit in the middle here. Kind of think it's going to be kind of an okay day. I think at moments you will see that. One thing I also should bring up that I haven't mentioned, just what is the health of Baker Mayfield? He quite frankly just did not play well against Carolina, and I don't think was healthy. And we know he will play if he's injured. And quite frankly, I think if they had faith in Kyle Trask, we would have seen him last week. Baker's the guy. Baker's going to play the entirety of this game, even if he's, completely hobbled. You just hope that he's 100%, because if he's not, I think this would be a disaster. This might be worse than last time, and Philadelphia probably wins handedly. But, if Baker is healthy, or at least mostly healthy, I'm kind of putting this in if he's, 80%, then that's my prediction. But yeah, those are my thoughts. If you want to know who I have winning the game, though, you'll have to stay tuned for my next video where I talk about the other side of the ball, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense against the Tampa Bay defense. A lot of interesting stuff there. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.